Hey, John here. This is Get to Know It. This video is a continuation of web development tutorial. In the first video, I introduced you to HTML. This video explains how you can use CSS to describe how your HTML written documents will be presented. Cascading style sheet, commonly known as CSS, is a style sheet language used for describing the presentation of a document written in a markup language such as HTML. Well, having said that, let's get started with the practical part. So here I am on my HTML document. I'm using Visual Studio Code as my text editor, and this is how my code looks like. So in my code I have the basic HTML structure within which I have an image with the image tag. I also have a title with a h1 element. I also have a paragraph with a paragraph element, and I also have a link. And this is how the code looks like on a browser. So I want to style this website of mine, this simple website of mine, so that it has that nice look and feel. So to do that, I have created a CSS file. So to create a CSS file, you just need to simply create a file and then have it with an extension of .css. So using whichever text editor you are using, go to the file, create a document and save it with an extension of .css. You will need to make sure that you save it within the same location, where you have your index.html. Like in my case, I have my main.css in the location where I have my index.html. But what I have done, I've created a folder called assets, within which I have created another folder called CSS, and it is within the CSS that I have my CSS file. So it is always good to separate the two, but have them within the same location. So I have my index.html within the folder called sample website, and then within the same folder sample website I have another subfolder called assets. Within assets I have another subfolder called CSS, within which I have my CSS file. So you can just simply create a CSS folder within this location here, or within where you have your HTML document. And now back to my index.html document, and one of the things that I want to do before I get started with the CSS is to link the HTML document with the CSS. So to do this, I'll go to the head element of my HTML document, and I'm going to have this element called link. So the first thing that you need to do is to create an attribute called link. Have it with a lil of style sheet, and then with a href of the location of where your CSS file is. So now to know where my CSS file is, I can just go to the main.css file, which is my CSS file, and I'll be able to see the location here. So if you're using Visual Studio Code, you'll be able to see the location of your file, the path of your file. So in my case, it is in the sample website, assets, CSS, main.css. So I can come back to this, and I'm going to light that path here. If you're not using Visual Studio and you can't see that, you can always get to your folder, where you have your index.html, and go and open where your CSS file is. Open where your CSS file is, and you'll be able to see the path. You'll be able to see the path on top here. So what you can now do after that is head on to your text editor, and what I can do here, because I'm already in the sample website folder, I'm not going to include it in my path. So I'm just going to start with assets, And again, one of the cool things that I like with Visual Studio is that it will be able to auto-complete almost everything that you want to include, including the path and other elements that you're including. So for example, here I've just typed the asset and it was able to detect that specific folder. So I can just come and click that, and when I click it, it will show me which subfolders are within this folder. So again, I can just come and select that, and now from there it will also now show me which file is within this subfolder. So I can just come and click that. So it is very simple. If you're not using Visual Studio, what you now need to do is to light the folder where you have the CSS file. If you have created a subfolder within that folder, you need to put the /, and then you come and type the name of the subfolder, you put a /, and then now you come and write the name of the file. So if it was just within the assets, there was no need of including all of this subfolder. So this is a subfolder that is within this folder. If you don't have a subfolder, you just come and write the name of your folder, and then you come and write the CSS file name. So that is very simple. If you don't include this, your CSS will not work. If you don't include this, your CSS will not work. Now let me just head on to my text editor and I open the main.css file. So now the first thing that we are going to do is to start with the most common CSS properties, and that is the padding and the margin. So what is padding and margin? Padding is the space inside something, while margin is the space outside something. So we want in our website, simple website here, we want to create some spacing inside and outside this content. Now to get started, I'll put an asterisk sign, and this is to mean that the spacing that I'm about to put here should be applied within the whole HTML document. So I'm going to put the asterisk and then the curly brackets, within which I'm going to have the padding, and I'm going to have it with a padding of 0. I'll also have margin, and I'll also have it with a size of 0. And what that will do is that it will put the same space inside and outside our element. So if we save that, then we head on to our browser and we refresh that. You see it will put a margin of 0, so we don't have any space between the element and the edge or the borders of this browser. So we don't have any, and if this content would leash here, it would like go up to the edge, so we won't have any space. So that's what I have basically done. So I have applied a spacing of 0, so we don't have anything allowed there. So now the next thing that I want now to do is to style the body. So if we come to our HTML document, you find that we have the body element. So we want now to come and style the content within the body element. So I'm going to go to the CSS, and I'm going to have the body. I'm going to have the body like that, the curly brackets. And the first thing that I will specify is the font style. So to specify the font style that will be used here, we come and put a CSS property called font family. So I'll just come and say font family, and I'll have this as Loboto. So just come and have Loboto. So you can put any font style that you want. Of course it should be installed in your machine. And I'm going to also have the sans serif. So that specifies the font style. I'm also going to come and specify the font size. So I'll come and put the style, the CSS property font size, and I'm going to have that with 14 pixels. The next thing that I will do is I will determine the background of the body. So the background color of the body. So I'm going to come and say background, and I'll have the background as I'll have the background color being white. So I want to specify the background color, and the background color should be white. So I'm going to use this color code, the white color code, which is hashtag and F 6 times. So that will determine the background color of the body. I'll also have the color. So the color is the CSS property that will determine the font color. So I'll say color, and I'll have it as hashtag A5. So this is a color code that will make it look glitch. So I'm going to have it that way. And then the next thing that I will also determine is the margin. So the margin, we have said it is the space outside something. The space outside something. So if I come and say margin, I'll come and put it as auto. If you put it as auto, you're going to find the content being centered or being placed at the center. So I'm going to have it as auto, and we can now come and save that and see how that looks on the browser. Refresh, and you can see how that looks. So the font style has changed, the font size has changed, and the color has changed, and also the background color is currently white. Alright, so we are moving on well. So you can always pause the video and test to see whether the code is working on your side. So now the next thing that I will do, I'll come and style this specific area here. So you can see when you notice that when you're creating websites, you'll always be using what we call containers. And these containers will be identified using what we call divs, or will be specified using what we call the div. So the div is short form of division, so they are like used to divide your website. So I have created this div, and I have given it a class of container. So this class is the one that will help us to specify this or to target this specific div when we are styling it. So if we want to style a specific area of our website, we can have it within a div, we can wrap it within a div, and then we have that div with a certain class name. So if we want to target this specific div, we'll be using the class name. Like in this case, I'm going to pick the container, so that I can be able to come and style this specific part. So I'm going to come and pick the container, and here, because it is a class, I'm going to start it with dot, and then I say container. So the dot will represent the class. I'm going to have the arrow brackets, and now the container, I'm going to have it with a width of 100% first. So the width, so how wide should it be? So the width, and I'm going to give it 100%. I'm also going to come and specify the padding. So I'm I'm going to come and put a padding of sorry, not just padding but padding top. So this will mean that I want to put a space on top. I'm specifying the spacing between the div and the top part of the div. So let us see how that will work practically. So I'll just come and say padding top, and then I'll just come and do it that way, and then I come and say 30 pixels. So we are going to see how that will change. So let's just see how that will affect our website. So you can see now the space between this image and this text is now wider, because I have applied a specific padding, which is a space between this element and this element. And you can see it hasn't changed on this side because I've just said padding top. Because if you don't say padding top, you just say padding, this space will be applied across the website or across these edges. So like there will be a space here, a space here, a space on top, and a space down. But now I'm specifying that I just want the spacing on top. So that's why I've just said padding top, so that the space is just placed on top of this element and not anywhere else. So if I come and just say padding, let's see, just remove that, and then we come and refresh that. So you're now going to see that the spacing will be applied here. It will also be applied here, only that we cannot see it. It will also be applied at the bottom and top. But what we want now is the padding top only. So I'm just going to come and say padding top only. So just that. I save that, and then we refresh it. So you're just going to have it that way. Alright, so the next thing that I'm also going to do is specify the padding left. So I'm just putting these ones because I want a different spacing across or allowed the element or allowed the content. So if I just come and say padding, there will be a uniform space allowed the element. But if I come and specify the padding top, padding left, padding bottom, padding all that way, I'll be able to like put different spacing allowed the element. So I'm just going to come here and say padding left, and the padding left I'll give it 15. So you can see that I'm specifying a different spacing on the left, and I'll also come and say padding light, and I'll also give it, sorry, it should be padding hyphen right, and then I'll give it a size of 15 also. 15 pixels, and I'll also have it with a background. Background, so I can just come and say background. So I'll just come and pick that, and I'll just come and give it a background of white as well. You can put any color, like for instance we can come and make it a glare, for instance. So if you come and save that, refresh it, we are going to see it in glare. But now because we applied the same glare color here, we will not be able to see this. So we should apply a color that will make our content visible. So that's why I'll come here and put white instead of glare. So save that and refresh it. So you're now going to see that there is a certain padding, a certain space between the margin between the edge here, or between the border and the element, and the spacing is not the same here, so this is bigger than this one. So if you want to be specific on the spacing on top, bottom, right and left, you have to put all those CSS properties, that is padding top, padding bottom, padding left and padding right. That is if you want different padding space, or you want a different spacing, I mean. Alright, so we are done with the container, and now the next thing that I want to also do is, if we get back to our HTML element, we are going to see that we have this link. So we also want to style this link as well. So to style the link, what I'll do, I'll just come and have the A or the anchor tag there, and I'm going to have the curly bracket. And what I'll do with the link, how I'll style it, I'll first of all come and say text decoration. So this is a CSS property that will remove this color, the blue color, and the line that you can see here. So we don't want that decoration, we want it to look like normal text. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the text decoration CSS property. So I'll just come and say text hyphen decoration, and I'll just come and say it should be none. So I'll say none, so that will remove all those decorations. Then the next thing that I'll also do is I will have it with a text shadow. I'll have it with a shadow, so I'll just come and say text shadow, and I'll come and have it with these colors. So don't mind, we will be seeing what these ones means later. So I'm going to have RGBA brackets, and here I'm going to have 0, 0, 0 again, comma, and .01. Then outside that I'll also have a 0 space 0 space 1 pixels. So these ones should not be, this one should not be. So what basically this is just a color code that is representing this specific color that you can see here. So it will be the color that will be used for the shadow, the text shadow. So if I come and save that, then I refresh it, I will not have that line that we had there. I will not have that line, and the text shadow is there, only that it is not that much visible. So the next thing that I'll do is to specify the color. So I can just come and have a color, and I can give it which color. Let me just come and pick a color from this list. Just come and pick that color, so you can apply any color, and you will refresh that, it will have that specific color. So by removing the text decoration using this text decoration property, you can now be able to apply the color. You can be able to apply the color. This text shadow is something that is optional, so you can either put it or just leave it alone. Alright, so we are almost done here, so things are looking a bit okay now. So we are just now left to apply a specific hovering effect. So like when we hover over this link, we want it to change. We can have it with a background color or just text color. So like when you point at it, the font changes, the font color changes, or there is a background color that appears along or around the link. So to do that, I'll come and put the anchor tag, and then I'll have it with hover. So come and write the anchor tag and then colon hover, and then the usual curly brackets. And here you want to come and specify the background color if you want it to be when hovered on to have that background color. So we can come and say background, and then we can come and specify a certain color. So for example, we can just come and put what just come and put a specific color. Maybe we can put the dark green. Let's see how that looks. So it's up to you to select the colors that you want. It's up to you to select the colors that we want. We can also come and say, instead of having a background, we can come and put it as color. So what this one will do is that instead of having a background color, it is the text that will change color instead of the background. So that way. So if that is what you want, and I think it looks nice that way, you can just come and have the CSS property color within the anchor tag and the hover. So within this CSS property there. Now everything looks good now. So the only thing that is left is styling this image. You see now this image is very small, and we want this image to like occupy the whole of this space. And we also want it to be what we call responsive, so that if we come and let's store down this window, the image will respond to the size of the window. And even if the website is viewed on any other smaller or bigger device, the image should be responding to the size of that specific device. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to head on back to my text editor, and as you can see, if I go to the HTML document, I have the image here, and currently it has a size of 100% and 100% height. So width is 100% and the height is 100%. So what I want to do is to come and change this. So how I can change this, I can just first of all go to the main CSS first. But before I get there, you also notice that I have the image with a class of header image. So I have specified as a class for the image element. So the class I've called it image header. So it is this image header that I'll grab, and then I'll head it. I'll go with it to my main.css, and here I'm going to come and say dot image header. So you can give it any name, and I'm going to have the usual curly brackets. Now it is within these curly brackets that I'm going to specify how the image should be presented. So I'm going to come and say top, and I'm just going to say that top should be 0, and I'll also come and say left, it should also be 0 as well, so 0. I'm also going to come and say width, and I'll put the width as 100%, and the same case with the height. On the height I'll also put it 100%. So height. It's along with the height. Oh, sorry, we don't have a semicolon there, so we have to put a semicolon. All right, so that is it. So I've specified the top, so it is just specifying the margin on top and the left. So I'll just come and save that, and if I refresh that, I'm going to have the image that way. So this will mean that I can just come and get rid of these now. So this is what we call inline CSS that I had just used to specify the size of my image. But instead of using the inline CSS, I have styled it using what we call the external CSS, where the CSS is outside the HTML document. So I will come and save that, and we'll refresh to see whether anything will change, and everything looks good. We can also test whether it is responsive, so I'm just going to come and resize it down there, and you can see how it looks. And because this is Mozilla Firefox, I can go to this hamburger here, and then I go to web developer, and then I can go to responsive design mode, and so that we see how it will respond to different devices that will have different sizes. So you can see how that looks. So if I come and I keep on changing this, for instance, if I come and stretch it that way, you see the image is responding to that size. If I come and have it that way, the image and the content is responding to that. So the image is responding, only that the text is not. Yeah, but at least the content looks a bit okay as it is. And that is it for this CSS video. Hope you like it. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friend, subscribe to the channel so that you get this and more videos. Thank you for watching my video up to the end. See you in the next one. Stay safe.